afternoon, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the 16th edition of the School of Tomorrow events, Guardians of the Future, Shaping Tomorrow with Generative AI. The non-profit SOT event series was launched by Beacon House in 2000 to engage communities in conversations that shape the future of schools and societies. I would like to thank Google for Education, the lead partner for SOT 2023, and their partner TechValley, our titanium sponsor UBL. Our other key sponsors include My Backpack, MK Books, Allied Bank Limited, Habib Bank Limited, Wateen, and Interwood. We also thank our SOT supporters, including Paramount Books and Nestle Pure Life, who have contributed to this year's event. My name is Sadia Chand, and I'm heading Beacon House F74 campus. Please take a moment to note these important points. Please ensure your cell phones are silent. In case of emergency, the exit point is at the back. Always stay calm and follow directions. Please use the SOT app to scan the QR code for question-answer sessions and feedback. Share your thoughts on social media using the hashtag Guardians of the Future and hashtag SOT 2023. If you need assistance, our ushers are here to help. For questions, please either use the flashcards or the mobile app. The panel discussion and the TED Talk is going to be there for 45 minutes, and we'll follow it up by 15 minutes for question and answers. Now I would like to introduce the person behind this session, Ayan, Head of School at TNS Beacon House DHA, is a leading advocate for student agency in Pakistan. He serves as the IB Pakistan consultant and a treasurer with roles as IB evaluation leader, program leader, workshop leader, and online facilitator. He holds a master's in education leadership, a postgraduate in education, a bachelor's in history and English, a certificate in education from Harvard University. He's also a visitor for the Middle States Association and the Council of International Schools. Most welcome, Ali. The stage is all yours.
Much. Thank you. Now, I have to say that it's wonderful being here today. This is the second session that I've run, and it's wonderful that actually we have two students from different walks of life actually on the panel today, and also Monis will also be part of it also. So it's my great pleasure to actually introduce the first speaker, and I know I look like Justin Bieber with this microphone on, and I might start singing later on just to warn you all. So let me introduce Raheen Fatima. A 15-year-old trailblazer, is an inspiring activist and podcaster who has educated over 5,000 young minds through her theatre plays on child abuse and gender equality. Amid the pandemic, she leveraged technology to teach English to students from 20-plus countries. She firmly believes that interfaith, intercultural, international dialogue can pave the way for global peace and the achievement of SDGs. To achieve this, she has conducted over 500 online and in-person sessions on topics including climate change, education, and peace. Raheen has inspired action and motivated 23,000 followers worldwide to join her in creating a positive impact. Now, one thing I would say, having spent time with Raheen over the last couple of weeks, I have to say that she is a total inspiration, listening to her story. So please do listen carefully. She's only 16 and she has done so much with her life. So listen to the inspiration. Over to you. Good luck. Very welcome.
Hello, everyone. Hope all of you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for that introduction, Ian. I couldn't even believe that was me, but it is. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction to get started, and then we can start by sharing what we are going to be discussing today, a balanced and inclusive future. So my name is Raheen, and I am 16 years old. I do a lot of different things despite of being 16 because I think life's too short to wait for until you're 18 or until after college. You can just get started early. So I am an aspiring social entrepreneur. I am a podcaster. I'm a stand-up comedian, a theater actress, and at core, I just love connecting with people. I love talking about things that I'm passionate about. I love activism, raising my voice because it has an importance in the world. I've been giving many platforms in my journey, and I've been very lucky that I've gotten the chance to leverage them all to speak for what I think is most important. Now let's start from the start of my journey. That's usually the most frequently asked question. How did you even start? Well, I started when I was 11, and that is a really, really young age. In my life, I've learned one thing, that there's always something. Life needs to give you a push in order for you to start. And for me, the first push was my brother's cancer diagnosis. My younger brother, who's in the audience, front row right now, he's 8 years old right now, but back when he was 2.5 years old, he was diagnosed with blood cancer. It was a devastating news for the family, and since he was my only sibling, it was more heart-touching for me. Well, my parents moved away, they moved to the hospital, they were taking care of him, all the time, and we didn't know if he was going to make it. And for me, that was the most heartbreaking thing because I had been the only sibling for 8 years, and now that could have been taken away from me. One day, when I found out that he was in the intensive care unit, I went to visit him. And when I did, I saw him laying in that bed. And that bed could have been his deathbed. And that scared me. Not only because that was my brother there, but the fact that anyone could have been there. And just because I'm his sister, I could have been there. And so, on my way back home, and I was a 5th grader, I was like a 10-year-old back then, the thought that kept on crossing my mind was, if I was there, what would I do? What would I do with all the dreams that I have for myself? I want to be part of history. Geez, I want to create history. I want to be part of everything great. I want to be part of change. I can't just leave it all behind. And so my first instinct was, okay, I don't know if I have time left or not. I don't know if I'm going to die or not. There's no guarantees in life. Let's just start working on whatever I want to do in life right now. Now that that was set, my question to myself was, and when I told my dad, his question to me was also, what are you going to do? What do you want to do in life? And being asked that as a 10, almost 11-year-old was, what do I want to do in life? Because that's almost always the first question that any grown-up, when they come to your house, at least in our Pakistani culture, they ask you, dude, what do you want to do when you grow up? I always had an answer to that, and they were all over the place, from being a doctor to a makeup artist to an artist, and so many things in between. But in that moment when I knew that I actually really had to do something and that had to be right now, I did not know. And so I started exploring and exposing myself. Now, this is an explore and expose theory that I made back when I was writing down my TEDx. And I was like, okay, so what's the best way to put this into a word or into like a cool theory that I can present in my TEDx? And that's when I made this. So I feel like the way that you can find what you want to do, your purpose in life, is to explore and expose. It is to explore everything around you, explore within you, explore your possibilities. And that can be done by exposing yourself to everything that is around you, exposing yourself to different cultures, different people, different professions, so that you can gain an understanding of the world. And trust me, only with that understanding can you get to the point where you are like, I want to do this thing for the rest of my life. This is my goal. This is my bigger goal. And then you would develop small sets of goals to get to that one goal. And even if you have contributed a little to that goal, you can die satisfied. That was my goal. I do not want to die without doing anything or leaving a mark in the world. So I started exploring and exposing. I have always loved making connections with people, and that's one of the reasons why, I'm always perceived as the sort of kid that's everywhere, and I do a lot of different things, and I've done theater and stand-up, and I've done activism, and I've done teaching English to people from over 20 countries. So I've done many things, and that was all to find what I wanted to do. When I started, my goal was I want to empower people around me, and I pretty much ran with that. Now, I was very fortunate that I live here in Islamabad, because Islamabad is the capital, and it being the capital, it is home to many wonderful people in Pakistan. And so I got out. I still remember, I used to be 11, 12, and I've been networking since then. I'd go out every Saturday, Sunday with my dad, sometimes with my younger brother and my mom, and we would go out. We would talk to different people. And back then, since I was only a stand-up comedian, I used to introduce myself as that, as the youngest stand-up comedian of Pakistan. And I met some very, very amazing people on the way, Monis Rehman being one of them. He was the first fireside chat that I ever attended. And I remember it was at the National Incubation Center. And I remember being there, and I was like, hey, I want to be speaking up there. Not only very happy that I got the chance to be on many fireside chats after that, but today I will be sharing a stage with him. 5 years ago, that would have been a very distant dream, but today I stand here and I say I can die satisfied. So a lot of things changed when COVID hit around the world, and for me too. And I think that was the point where things started to narrow down for me, little by little. Because at the end of the day, the exploring and exposing phase could not last that long. So when COVID hit, everything shut down, and I was not attending a lot of school. I used to do online classes, not great at online classes, at least not back then. And I remember that I got onto social media, because one of my mentors, Raheen, said that you should get on social media, you should get on Facebook. And I'm going to be really honest. Back then, he used to have this sort of 500 mutual friends get a laptop scheme. That if you had 500 mutual friends with him on Facebook, which meant that you had networked with enough people, that he would give you a free laptop. Well, all I pretty much wanted was a free laptop. I'm going to be really honest. I didn't want anything to do with the whole scheme. And then by the whole process, and by the end of it, I realized the true meaning of it, which was to introduce me to people from all sorts of backgrounds. Now, within COVID, I started having conversations, because having a lot of Facebook friends means a lot of people that you don't actually know. And so that gets to me, and that bothers me a lot. And so I was like, what is the way that I can start talking to people, and I can start getting to know them, and I can say that they're part of this network that I want to have, that I dream to have? And that was to start interviewing people. And God, did I interview everyone that I could at the time. I remember I used to have 5 to 6 interviews scheduled in a day from people from all walks of life. And I was a curious 12-year-old. There are days where I was like, okay, maybe I want to be an astronaut. And I would search up someone that's an astronaut. I knew a person that was an astronaut at NASA at the time. And I was like, hey, can I interview you? And surprisingly, she said yes, because to my surprise at the time, not a lot of people reached out to her for these interviews. I remember I once needed help with my homework in 7th grade. I had needed some science work done. It has something to do with molecules and stuff, which I still don't understand, still don't like, not a big fan of it. And I remember texting someone that was a PhD in molecular sciences. So for me, being part of this amazing global community, and this very beautiful community that I had created on Facebook, I had everything. I had so many things just available for me to reach out and grab and see whether I like it or not. So with that journey, when COVID came, I also realized the power of my voice. Because I started growing my following on Facebook. I went from someone that just wanted a free laptop to someone that now has about 23,000 followers on Facebook. And so that has taught me a lot of things. Not only have I become more responsible with the things that I share and what I choose to advocate for. But also that if I, someone that was just 12 years old, just pretty much just, seeing around, having fun, now to a 16-year-old that's speaking in front of you guys today as an activist and many more things that I have been very fortunate enough to experience and to be given the opportunity. And there's many opportunities that I'd say I created. Not a lot of opportunities just come knocking at your doorstep. There's a lot that you have to create. I still remember the first time that I ever spoke at PNCA. It was really cool because it was supposed to be an open mic. And I was looking, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen the main hall, which is Hall 1, and I was there in the corridors, and I was waiting for someone that may be able to guide me how to audition for the open mic. And I did come across a lady, and she was like, oh, the auditions are already done. And little did I know that she was the organizer herself. And she gave me an opportunity to speak. It was 8th of March, 2019. And today, I stand here on the 6th of November, 2023, speaking here again. So I have come a long way with my opportunity. And the one thing that I choose to tell everyone around me today is that you have a voice, no matter how young you are, how old you are. And when you see issues like climate change, how things are changing with the world, how things are changing with education, and with the development of AI, it can be really scary. And there's a lot of different things that one has to think about. Especially as a young person, I get asked a lot, do you worry about the future? You see and you're very involved in activism yourself, but what do you foresee in the future? Well, all I say from my instinct, I think we have a great future. And I know that sounds very stupid to say right now with everything that is going on, but trust me, I see so many young people every day. So many people that I say, I'm so lucky to have inspired. So lucky that I could change their life, that I could positively impact their life. Well, in my journey of exploration and exposing myself, I'd come a long way until the start of this year. And I knew that I wanted to do something. I knew my goal was empowering people. Then I knew that my goal was to empower women. Then I knew that my goal was to empower young Pakistani girls like myself. But since I had become so chilled, so laid back, I had a lot of great opportunities. I think one of the greatest things in my life is that I've had the opportunity to work with platforms like CNN, like Cartoon Network, Warner Brothers, CTV News Canada, Pakistan Television. Lots of great opportunities, gotten lots of awards, and somehow that I did let it get to my head, and it did eventually get to my head a little bit. And recently, when I got a little sick, started this year, I remember going back and forth to the hospital, and I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. It is an autoimmune disease where your body cannot produce insulin, therefore you are insulin dependent for the rest of your life since there's no cure for it. There was a sense of relief that, we do have insulin. And when I did go to the doctor, I remember him very vividly telling me, the day that you accept that with this disease, and not just with this disease, I think just living this world, you can die any day, it's the day that you will finally be at peace with this diagnosis. And I remember being terrified in the doctor's office. I was like, okay, so you're trying to say you're a doctor and you're trying to say that I can die any day? And then that brought me back to the whole push that life and nature that it had given me in the first place. And I was like, I had forgotten what I was going to do all along. And that acted like a moment of urgency for me, where I knew that I had to do whatever I had to do now. A very similar thing that had happened almost 5 years ago. And that's when I started my little baby, which is Elevate Her. It is my organization that I am working on currently, and I want to support the young girls here in Pakistan. I want to provide safe spaces, opportunities, and scholarships. Because for me with my learning journey, I am a very proud learner at the Socratic Experience. I am a high schooler there, and I got a scholarship, being the first Pakistani in the school, and also being the first and only full scholarship student there. I feel very proud of myself to be representing Pakistan. And I want other young girls to do the same. For us to be not just one Raheen Fatima, but for us to be so many thousands of girls representing Pakistan in all places, in all walks of life, because there's only a certain thing that I can cover. There's only one thing that may be my forte, but there may be a lot of great fashion designers and IT experts that may come out of Pakistan, but what they need is opportunity. What they need is mentorship. And we at Elevate Her, we want to create that network of girls where they can find all the things that they may need succeed, that they may need to succeed. And for us to be their helping hand during their journey of exploring and exposing. And I'm also starting my own business, which is Passion Fruit. And I'm hoping to launch that soon. But now that I end this by telling my story of how I got here and sharing my voice, I say the only way that we can create a balanced and inclusive future is by looking around us. I may be affecting it with promoting gender equality through Elevate Her, through Passion Fruit, through my own personal brand. But you guys need to see around you. Now let's do a little exercise if you guys are up for it. Because I remember when I was thinking of what should I have as a call to action at the end of this talk, I was really confused. What is going to be the right thing? I was like, well, let's have like a cool exercise. Let's have them feel what I would feel up on that stage. So I would encourage all of you guys to close your eyes if you feel comfortable to, and just think with me for a second. When I say, and I've mentioned this a lot during my talk, is our perfect future, an inclusive and balanced future, what do you see? Do you see green tech around? Do you see our children being educated? Do you see gender equality? Do you see thriving businesses? Do you see a lot of tech, like a sci-fi movie, like really cool, like the AI and everything? What do you see? What you will see is going to be what speaks out to you the most. And my call to action would only be, let's keep that feeling in our heart. Let's come together next year on this very stage and share all the things that we have done to get to that feeling, to come a little closer as individuals. Thank you very much to give me the opportunity to speak here today. It has been a great experience, and I hope that you guys have some very good questions. I'm really looking forward to that, and the next speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Raheen. Now, one thing that I have to say is, Raheen, for anyone who was at my session 2 days ago on student agency, it was talking about agentic learners, about taking that voice, choice, and ownership. Now, that is something exactly that Raheen has done. We need to empower our youth to succeed for the future. At the moment, Pakistan is experiencing a huge brain drain. That needs to stop. Now, many of you here are heads from Beacon House School Group, but I can see in the audience we also have people from Learning Alliance International. We've got Sharia Salamat from SICAS here as well. We need to work together as a community of educators to make sure that we can raise the profile of our students globally around the world. Now, the next person I would like to introduce, sadly had to pre-record his video because he is actually based in the US. I spent a lot of time with him and his father. And, it was delightful to actually listen to their stories. His name is Ryan Hickman. So let me just give you a very quick introduction. At the age of 14 years old, Ryan Hickman is arguably the most famous recycling advocate on the planet. And you've probably seen him on TV or on social media talking about how we can all make a difference by recycling. He's been named one of the top 100 most influential people of Orange County, California, and one of the top 10 kids changing the world by MSN. Reader's Digest includes him in the top kids of the decade, changing the world list. Ryan is the founder of Ryan's Recycling, his non-profit Project 3R, and a new residential recycling collection service with the state of California called Recycle from Home. Now, Ryan has also been on the Ellen DeGeneres show twice, and is actually a very, very well-spoken person. So please, if you can watch the video now as well. Hopefully it's working.
Hi everyone, my name is Raheen Hickman. I'm 14 years old and I live in the state of California here in the United States. I'm really excited to be part of the School of Today conference and speaking to you all today. Please bear with me a little bit today. I'm used to giving keynote speeches to inspire kids all over the world, but this is my first time talking to adults about influencing change and inspiring their students. I hope I can leave you all with a little bit of wisdom today from a kid's point of view. So, for those who don't know my story, I recycled nearly 2 million cans and bottles, and I also started a nonprofit and 2 companies based around recycling. Being a kid, I knew my direction and I wanted to go in it, but I needed help from adults in my life, which includes my parents and my teachers. When I was about 3.5 years old, my dad took me to our local recycling center with a few small bags of plastic bottles, and I thought the recycling center was probably the most exciting place I've ever been to. I was so excited about recycling, I asked my entire neighborhood to start recycling with me. I would give everyone bags each week and collect their cans and bottles, and then take it to the recycle center. That's kind of when I started Ryan's Recycling Company. I'm not sure why I liked it so much, but it's all I could think about. I was very focused, and I wanted to recycle as much as possible. We live near the ocean, so I would see bottles sometimes in the water or washed up on shore, and my dad explained to me how it was harming the environment. I figured recycling was a way I could make a difference in saving the planet, plus I even made a little money too. I started recycling small, of course, but within a month or so, I started getting requests to come to other neighborhoods to pick up cans and bottles. Started getting $10 or $20 every time I go to the recycle center. I'm now getting $50 and sometimes even $100. Everyone wanted me to come recycle. I got my entire elementary school to start recycling in all the classrooms. All my teachers were so supportive. I collect cans and bottles from everyone who called me, and then me and my dad would go pick up the items, take them home and sort them. And then when we had enough, we would take the load of recycling to the recycle center. So here in California, if you recycle a plastic bottle or aluminum can, you get between 5 and 10 cents back from the redemption center. A lot of people don't care and just throw them away, so I figured, why not start asking people to save them for me? When I was first starting out, my dad and I would load up his truck, and we would go to the recycle center about maybe once a month. As business grew, we started going more frequently. Soon, we were going to the recycle center twice a month, then every weekend, like we do now. My dad helped me make business cards, flyers, and we even built a website. My dad and I started posting photos on Facebook of us at the recycle center. We even made t-shirts with my logo and started selling them on my website. How cool is that? I donated all the money that we made from the shirt sales to help support the Pacific Marine Mammal Center. They rescue sick and injured seals and sea lions. In early 2016, my first grade teacher, who was really instrumental in helping me follow my dream of recycling, had a reporter from our local newspaper come and talk to our whole class. The reporter interviewed me about my little recycling business, and then decided to do an actual story about me in our local town paper. A lot of our local community read about me and what I was doing. A few months later, we posted a picture of me on Facebook with a caption that I saved up about $10,000, which I believe is about 2.8 million Pakistani rupees, when my story went suddenly viral. I started getting thousands of emails and letters each day from all over the planet. I started getting interview requests, and I started going on TV programs talking about what I do. Suddenly, I was the face of a new generation of kids taking care of our planet. My little recycling business had gone global. I started getting partnerships requests from companies all over the world, and I started speaking at events and appearing on TV shows all over the world. I was even on billboards, magazine ads. I guess I was an influencer before I even knew it. Today, Ryan's Recycling still picks up recyclables all over my community, but it also branched out into me starting a nonprofit called Project 3R. In my 10 years of recycling, I also realized that I really like cleaning up the beach and leading community beach cleanups. So I started a nonprofit organization called Project 3R, and guess what? It's going great. I'm getting support from a lot of people, and we're making a big difference together. I spend about maybe 10 to 15 hours a week recycling and doing beach cleanups. Now, I have a team of educators that go to classrooms and speak to students, and we also organize trips for classrooms to come ride on a boat, and they learn about taking care of our oceans and what they can do as kids to make a difference. It's super cool to see Project Zero grow into what it is today. I tell adults every single action you do makes a difference. So when you pick up a random piece of trash or recycle a plastic bottle, it's making the world a better place. And that goes for the same with working with you too. An encouraging word or extra time spent with a kid might just lead them in a direction that they would have, or that they wouldn't have the courage or resources to do on their own. If my dad wouldn't have told me that he was too busy to take me to get recyclables when I started, or my teachers wouldn't have supported my passion, I may have lost focus or the vision of my dream. So, I've had so many people ask me how I got started or what keeps me going. I always tell people that my parents and teachers always supported me and encouraged me. And I told them that if I could do anything that I put my mind to, guess what? You guys can too. Over the past 7 years, I traveled all over the world talking to people about my story and recycling with them. I met all sorts of famous people, and I can't even remember how many interviews I've done. I've been featured in hundreds of magazines, books, TV programs, and I'm even part of many school study programs all over the world where kids in classrooms learn about how important it is to recycle. Last summer, I got to speak to kids in South America, and I also got to go in a submarine in the Mediterranean Sea with Ocean X to check out a shipwreck. And I even got to recycle a bottle from the bottom of the ocean floor. I tell you guys all these things because you never know where your opportunities you focus on may lead you. I want to show you guys something crazy. My dad and I go to pick up trash at the beach every weekend. You go at the end of the day before dark, and we always find abandoned beach toys. I clean up the toys and I post them on my Instagram page. This picture is 18 months worth of beach toys found during the pandemic. All the good toys were washed and sent to kids in Ghana, Africa. Crazy, right? These were all left behind by people, so you can imagine the amount of trash left behind as well. Sometimes it drives me crazy, but it also encourages me to keep going. So if you have the opportunity to mentor youth that aren't into beach cleanups, recycling, or trying to save the planet, but they might come up with an idea for a new product or provide a service. They might get involved with volunteer work in your community. Maybe they'll write a book or make videos inspiring other people. Maybe they don't have the confidence to get started on their own, but they need your encouragement to push forward. The sky's the limit, trust me. Everyone has the power inside them to make it successful. It just takes a little focus and determination. I tell kids all the time, don't be afraid to make mistakes or ask me for help. I ask my mom and dad for help all the time in my business, and I'm constantly trying to find new ways to make things work. I rely on a lot of people to help me succeed. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work. My message to kids all over the world is to not be afraid to follow your dreams because you never know how far it might take you. I'm living proof. Success may take a lot of hard work and time to figure out, but keep taking forward steps, even if they're small, to get to your goals, and you may just amaze yourself with what you can do. Us kids can make a real difference in the world, and we're the next generation of leaders. I met so many amazing kids all over the world who are leading the ways of their ideas. I just want to say thank you for listening to me speak to you all today, and I hope I inspired you a bit to think about how you might uplift youth to change the world or start something of your own. Remember, take small steps and stay focused. Don't get discouraged when something gets in the way of your plans. Figure out a way around that problem and it will make you even stronger. Thank you everyone. I hope I inspired you today to know how big of a role you play in making a difference in others' lives. And if you have any questions about recycling or what I do, or just want to say hi, send me an email or note through social media. Thanks, guys.
Now, I've got to say that Ryan Hickman is a complete inspiration. And when he said that he is a leader of tomorrow, it is very, very true. Talking about leaders, now Monis was going, why am I here? With two very young people. Monis is actually not that old himself, but he's one of the original startup people of Pakistan as well. So Monis is one of Pakistan's internet pioneers. He is passionate about digitally connecting the bottom of the pyramid with the top, combining jobs, credit, and commerce. He has founded 3 venture-backed startups in Pakistan, including the country's largest employment and professional financial wellness platform to help professionals and blue-collar workers find jobs and achieve financial health. Finja, and I hope I pronounced that one right, Pakistan's largest digital leading fintech, helping small and micro businesses get unsecured loans, and currently full-time CEO at Dukan, a digital commerce, payments, and lending ecosystem for MSMEs and their supply chains. So I'd like to invite Monis to the stage. I would also say that's a very short part of Monis's profile, knowing him, and I know that he's going to have a lot to say that will actually inspire the youth here, but also all the adults. Monis, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ian, for that great introduction. Apologize for all of those very long words squished in a very small amount of space. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I've got, all of the previous speakers and I were in the same age group, approximately plus or minus 40 years or so. But I was very inspired to hear them, because what I want to talk to you about today is how much power we have to make change, how much power we have to make impact. And that power comes from the motivated youth who've grown up with the technologies I'm about to speak about and sort of how much they've evolved. So with people like Raheen and Ryan, I'm very optimistic, coupled with this new magic wand that we have. I'm going to be saying this a lot in this talk. We all have a magic wand now that we can do things with that were magical, that were unimaginable previously, and that's your mobile phone. And now we have this whole AI genie that's out of the bottle. So the kind of impact that can be created today in Pakistan is unimaginable. And in the hands of our youth and their creativity, and the fact that they've grown up with these platforms and are growing up with these platforms, I'm super optimistic. So let me rewind the clock a little bit. I'm going to take you back to 2003. When I moved back to Pakistan, I came from the Valley. I had done a startup over there. I was living in an area where over $1 billion of venture capital funding was being invested every month, and startups like Hotmail and Google and Yahoo, the early giants, were being created. Amazon. And that evolution, going from the late 90s to today in Pakistan, what we're seeing, you're seeing certain parallels that are happening. When I moved back to Pakistan in 2003, there were about 1.8 million internet users in Pakistan. 1.8 million. Today, you have almost 80 million internet-connected users on smartphones. That's about 70% of adults in Pakistan today have an internet-connected smartphone. 1.8 million users meant that whatever online services we could offer, whatever change we were trying to bring to the ecosystem was limited to this group of 1.8 million relatively affluent, educated internet users who used to connect to the net from their office. I remember when we launched our jobs platform, the first reaction was, at that time, I'm talking about 2008 now, the reaction was, ye idhar nahi ho sakta. These things don't happen in Pakistan, they happen abroad. This is not how we behave. We don't buy things online. We don't trust the internet with our credit cards. This is the sort of environment through which we launched. And we launched this job platform, and everybody used to advertise in newspapers at that time, agar aapko yaad hai. The newspapers used to get a lot of money from advertising. We believe, because it happened everywhere else in the world, that there was an opportunity to disrupt this print classified, which was slow, cumbersome, paper CVs. The older people here will remember when we used to apply for jobs. We'd get Sunday classified newspapers and circle the jobs and then go to some place to print those CVs on nice paper, put them in envelopes and mail out the CVs. Who remembers that? Anybody remember that? Not too far back. But our children will never know that horrible experience because it was inevitable that this would move online, jobs would move online. So we started Rozee.pk in Pakistan from a small room of my house. Now it's grown quite a bit. We have about 65,000 employers using the platform and 10 million professionals who now apply for jobs, and we've helped over 1 million people find jobs completely through this online internet network. We disrupted jobs in newspapers, and it was very tough because we were nobody operating in a small room of my house. We took on the media giants who would make their revenue through classified ads in editions on Sundays. So there was a very acrimonious sort of relationship between this young startup that wanted to take jobs online and traditional print, who first didn't believe that a startup could do this, or this could even happen. They were relying on their old brand, which had a lot of strength and a lot of history. And they reacted too late. And as a consequence, we've seen one industry miss the boat. And this is the print media, and the media industry is now trying to catch up, not just Pakistan, but globally. Now, this is happening over and over again. I'll fast forward you a little bit. Our jobs platform started to take off. We had 65,000 employers now posting jobs, 10 million people applying with CVs, and we got a lot of data. And we saw that people started to shift from their ISDN, DSL connections. Now they started to use the cell phone. They started applying on their phones. And then we had other problems. The other problem we had is now people are posting jobs and they need to pay us. This is how we make money. But how do you collect money on the internet in Pakistan? I'm talking about 2008. It was very difficult. So we had a sales team that would go on bikes to clients and say 3,000 rupees, 800 rupees, and they would get checks and cash. And it was very difficult to scale that. Your cost of collection is as much as the amount they're paying you. It moves slowly. You can't grow as fast. So I became very interested in figuring out how to solve the payments problem. Smartphones were taking off. We saw it. Everybody has a smartphone now. We saw this happening before. When I was in the US in the Valley, the PayPal founders were friends. I saw the evolution, how it was created and how it became very mainstream. So around that time, State Bank of Pakistan had launched this branchless banking regulations. And what that means in simple terms is, first time in history of Pakistan, the regulator, our banking regulator, gave permission to licensed financial institutions to open up accounts outside of a branch, which meant you could do it on a cell phone. So I co-founded a startup called Finja, which got the first license to do this as a non-bank. And we launched the first smartphone wallet before Jazz Cash and before Easy Pesa, which allowed you for the first time in Pakistan's history to create a bank account on a phone. And it was just an amazing experience, magic wand. Felt like you had a magic wand. Anything could happen now. We've opened a bank account on a phone. And frankly, at that time, we thought this is it, discovered gold. Fast forward a little bit, what started happening is Jazz Cash, Easy Pesa, and the other big financial players came in. We didn't have a lot of money, we were a startup. And they were able to spend $200 million, $300 million, acquire users, give airtimes as incentive. And there was a very big churn. So people who joined wallets would join for an incentive and they'd drop off. It's very clear that this was not a game we could win. So although you were the first, it doesn't mean that you're going to be the biggest and the best enduring. It's a lesson. But what we did discover is now on the back of this mobile wallet, these digital transactions that are happening, we could get footprints of commerce, footprints of behavior. And we used those footprints. These were the sort of digital footprints that we used to credit score. We were able to algorithmically, through a bit of math, figure out how trustworthy people were and how much debt they could absorb and repay reliably. So we did the first smartphone-based loans. And we also discovered that the place we wanted to give these loans was not to somebody who wanted to buy a new air conditioner or a TV. What became very exciting was in Pakistan, our economy is largely offline. We have a GDP of, it used to be about $250 billion. Our GDP has been contracting. Everybody knows what's happening in the country. But guess what? The online economy has grown 900% in the last 3 years. The digital payments, the payments you make for airtime, top-ups, bills, last 3 years, has grown 900%. It's among the fastest. So this economy, which is contracting, is moving online. So while your overall incumbent economy is shrinking, the digital economy is growing very quickly. E-commerce, payments, loans, and lending. And the segment that I have become obsessed with, because I believe there's maximum impact that we can make with this magic wand in my pocket, in your pocket, this magic wand, which allows us to do a number of things, is take these micro and small entrepreneurs and help them join the digital economy, because surely they're being left behind. Whoever doesn't have a smartphone today and doesn't have ability to make payments and doesn't have ability to conduct commerce on this phone is being left behind. 40% of our GDP are these small MSMEs, SMEs, the store on the corner, the Kriana stores, the boutiques, the restaurants. They're being left behind because this is a complicated technology to master. It has very sophisticated English. You have to learn what e-commerce is, and you have to get servers and payment gateways. This is the power that these new kids, your students, are going to graduate as natives and be able to bridge that gap. So we learned how to give credit to small businesses so they could buy stock, inventory to sell. This is productive credit. It means if you're a small business and I give you a loan of 100,000 rupees, I know that by the time you sell the products, you're going to make 20% on that. But you can't make that extra revenue because nobody's willing to bet on you because you're undocumented. And banks don't lend. You don't get access to financial services. You can't use e-commerce because you don't understand what a server is and how to integrate an API to a payment gateway. But these are all very solvable problems, and this is what we do as indigenous entrepreneurs who are from this land and care about this country and care about the impact we make. Financial incentives, they come later. It's really impact-driven. So now, through the Finja platform, we learned that we could give unsecured digital credit instantly, real-time at the time of purchase. And we helped SMEs increase their revenue by around 40%, increase their income by about 40%. This is amazing, because this segment was not lent to, and we did it reliably without asking them for house papers or any collateral. And guess what our default rate was on those loans? Only 3%. You can trust people if you use data correctly. And now what we're doing with our Dukaan e-commerce platform is we have built accessible tools to provide any SME with digital banking and e-commerce infrastructure so they can get going easily. Complicated words, very simple app in Urdu. Create your storefront, upload your products, payment gateways are all there. And now you can start selling on the internet. We connect businesses with their suppliers. We give the suppliers an online stack as well so they can start trading. We clock those transactions, we credit score them. We embed credit, digital finance and credit, now accessible all the way down to the bottom of the pyramid because almost 80% of adults now have digitally connected smartphones. On top of this, let's sprinkle this new magic that you're hearing about, AI. We're still trying to understand what this means. But I'll tell you once again, everybody's been saying it, it is a game changer. So I'm almost at the end of my talk. I'm getting a prompt here. So I'll just wrap up with this. When you look at AI and the capabilities and the fact that now these AI engines like ChatGPT speak Urdu, Roman Urdu as well as Urdu, and you can have conversations and you can automate, this gives us a powerful tool to take this magic wand all the way down to the bottom of the pyramid, let people use it, get financial services, get e-commerce, make more money, and this prosperity trickles up. So my time is up. That's what I'll leave you with, but I think the future is very promising, and clearly we're in good hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Monis. Monis, don't leave the stage yet. Okay, so we have one question that we're going to go from the audience, because actually many of the Beacon House people here have been asking me to sing and close the show. So I've actually said, yes, I am going to sing as well. And a song that's actually I know, It wasn't planned.
I'm just terrified you're going to ask me to sing. That's why.
Well, actually, no.
Thank you.
Shahryar can come up and do a duet with me instead, okay? So the question, now it's quite a thoughtful question in many respects. What about the people who lose all their hope, who lose their ambition? What about them?
Yeah, I mean, so it's very easy to lose hope in these times. Inflation is at 40%. Economy isn't going well. The political, so it's very easy to get depressed in this country and feel like you're trapped. But everything I've just said, this magic wand I just spoke about, there's so much reason for hope. Education is moving to this magic wand. It's increasingly accessible. Jobs, skills, opportunities. So the sort of opportunities that we have are all moving here. And one of the things I just want to say in response to that question, it's a great question. We're worried about AI that will lose jobs as a result of AI. AI helps the less skilled more than it helps the super skilled. So when you have a population that has a lower skill set, AI helps it reach a much higher skill set in terms of work they can produce. So who benefits the most? Us, our country, our people. So these are tools that we have to use, and I think this whole inspiration and hopefulness comes from seeing these things in motion.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Monis. Now, I'm going to keep you on stage while I sing this to all of you. Now, there's a story behind this as well. So every year, I sing at the TNS graduation. And I trained as a classical singer as well before I went into education. So it shows actually that we all have dreams and aspirations that we can follow. So hopefully this goes okay. And let's go. Yeah? Don't leave, Monis.
I'm here.
I'm sure song. Get that off. They're playing the countdown instead of the song. Okay, that could be quite entertaining. And we start again. Hopefully it should be a showstopper. And now the end is the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each shot of course, each double step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Oh, whatever time, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there were doubts, I ate it up and spit it out. The records show I took the call and did it my way. I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing, and now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, 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 not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the thing he truly feels, and not the word of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blow and did it my way. Yes, we did it the SOT way. On behalf of everybody from the SOT, I would like to thank everybody for being here today. It's been a total pleasure with my 3 amazing speakers as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ian. It was great to have you here, and we loved the way you ended the session. Thank you.